Alright, so hello and welcome back. Today we're going over the map pack that I have put out for August, and we're going to go through every map and then basically explore them and look at the decisions I made and stuff like that. So, if you want the map pack, it's on my Patreon. You click this little map pack thing right here, and it's going to pull it up, and then these are all the zip files for it. We'll get into what this other thing is right here at the very end of the video because it's a bit more complex. So, without further ado, I'm going to go in order that they were released. So, we'll start off with Eagle View. Alright, so this is Eagle View, the first map in the pack, and this is the first version of it. So, let's talk about it. Basically, this is going to be a castle upon a basically hill or a cliffside. This is simulating a cliffside. Now, this basically map has a ditch around it, so we'll walk you through the outside of it first. This is basically a small ditch, and it's basically a drawbridge. Over the drawbridge, you have to get through a portcullis and two of them, and then this winch is for lowering and raising this drawbridge. And also down here in this tower area, basically the tower or the gatehouse, basically there is a wall segment. This is meant to represent like the second floor, being able to shoot down into this, which basically make it a death alley. So where the archer's going to have like 3/4 cover as they fire down here. Okay, and then there's ladders that will go up to the second floor, which we'll cover in a minute. If we continue down here, we're going to go over to a bathhouse to keep hygienic and stop diseases from spreading because that's how they do. So there's a bathhouse down here. Second, there's also latrines out here that is separate from the food. That the big invention right there. Out here, and then we also have a barn. So technically, you can fit 10 animals of reasonable size: horses, elks, whatever you want in here. And then out here was finally we have a tower, a little tiny tower, and it has some arrows, some water, and then it goes up to a second floor. Okay. Next down here we have a little storage area with some doors right here that you can go in and put whatever you need. And then we have the barracks in the center bit. Okay, so this barracks has being a cooking station basically right here with a furnace and then some cooking utensils. Has some food out here, and then basically this is just meant to represent the lobby of the barracks, right? So you have basically two long tables. You got playing cards, you got chess sets, you got animals mounted, and then down here, this side is going to lead to the basement, and then there's some weapons down here. So in case any of them are attacked, they can quickly grab their weapons and get outside. Okay. Now let's talk about this wall before I go to the basement. So this wall right here is to represent like a 5 foot wall ish, and then it has some battlements on top of it. So it's not really going to stop anybody from climbing it. That's one of the problems with Eagle View that people can upgrade, which we'll get to later in this video. But basically, just think of battlements where a guy can step out here and shoot and then take cover behind it, okay? And that's what it's for. It's also on a raised elevation, and it also has a ditch in front of it, so it is kind of hard to cross, but not nearly impossible, okay? So, if we're going to descend down to the basement, which is in the pack, this is a whole nother level, and you just do that. So this is the basement level. As you can see, this is basically the exact same copy. The only thing that's going to change down here is this area down here, which is the basement. Now there's some more utility stuff. There's a ballista, there's some rowboats, there's some weapons, some shields, an office desk, a little library, a little rest area thing down here with some scrolls and stuff. There's a crane down here in case you want to do heavy construction with experimental stuff. More stuff, more maps. You have some more work areas of study, and then there's a small smith down here that you could use. Okay. If we go back up to the ground floor, and there's this little area right here is going to go to the second floor. Okay. This also represents the second floor here, and then the second floor of this thing. Okay. So if we go up a floor, you can see that roofs were added to the bathhouse and the barn. Okay, and also to these little two structures out here for the latrines and the storage area. If we look at the tower, you see that the second level basically gets you up on top to a ballista, some arrows, some swords, and some bows, so you can actually shoot down. Okay. If we go to the gatehouse, if we go to this little ladder right here and climb up to the second floor, you can see that this place has windows to represent like crenellations, or not crenellations. Basically, think there's crosses, but they can't represent them. I don't think anybody's actually done it, and I can't find it. But basically, crosses you can shoot out, but you could also make them windows, honestly. They could just be windows, too, that you can open and close. Basically provides people that are on the second tier of the gatehouse the ability to shoot at the attackers, obviously, and protect cover with some arrows, okay? It also the chains to raise and lower the portcullises are up here. Next, if we go up here, this is where we came up from the second floor. Up here, you will see that we have a little, basically, this is the commander's room, more or less, thing. It's got some water for refreshments, has some scrolls, a window, and basically this is where you and the players can map, plan, basically a planning room, okay? There's some dresser here, there's a little knight statue right here for dramatic effect, and to give this place a little bit of style. Otherwise, it's basically just a barracks. Nothing but beds, chests, windows, and a door. You may be like, this is a little bit small, but trust me, this is that's actually not that bad of a room for a single person. I just even in university, my freshman year, I technically lived with 2 people in something like this. So yeah, it's doable, especially for one person, and it's really nice for only one person. And it lets you have a lot more people. So, if we then descend up to the 3rd staircase, which is the 3rd staircase is right here, go up to the 3rd floor. 3rd floor right here is basically just more barracks, okay? More beds, more windows, more chests, more doors, more dressers for everyone, and yeah, that's it. Just basically barracks. And you'll see that there's now a roof on this tower to cover it, and then the rest of the things are covered, and then if you go to a 4th floor, which I did, is basically you can have a roof on this. You can use these roofs if you want for your players to be able to shoot down on different levels or however you want to do that. We'll talk more about that level stuff later. But this is the first map in the pack, and we have covered everything about it, basically. It's on a cliffside, and it's got a ditch. So, on to map 2. Okay, so map number 2 is called River Long, basically because it's a long-ass river. So this is a very big map, and it's basically what it allows you to do as a DM is, depending on what VTT you use, or if you don't use a VTT, it's a very big map to allow you to basically actually traverse this river in a slow manner. And that's at least decent for ideas what I wanted it for. And there's a lot of places that the enemy could technically ambush the players if you so desired. All of these trees down here, but there are some key points on this map that I would like to point out. If you wanted to ambush somebody, these tree shrubs right here are technically placed there, and you could hide some enemies down here to ambush guys coming down the river. You could also do it on this side. Other than that, the areas are heavily forested. You could also set up another ambush right here between these guys' trees here and this shrub. Again, it's also very heavily forested and shrubbery down here, but that's what it is. However, you will also notice that it is not a steep cliffside, so the river is not technically that deep. I wouldn't be pushing big ships down this river, more like canoes and stuff, because it's not a cliffside, and you could easily dock the boat or ram the boat basically into the dirt side to get out of it. Okay, but this is what River Long is for, and it's just a big river for you to role play or do whatever you want, and there's some spots for ambush there. Okay, so on to the 3rd map. Okay, so the 3rd map is the Eagle View Mine, or you could actually just call it the mine, basically. So it's a relatively simple map. Basically, the mine starts out with basically a whole bunch of gems that, in my case, were actually cursed, of course, because it's in a circle in a pentagram with 2 dead skeletons with massive amounts of gems. Of course they would be cursed. There's also some remnants of guys that have died in this mine with some fireplaces, a bag of gold right there that you could add for your players to find. And then this mine basically splits out in many different directions, okay? If we take down this left side, you can see that there's more dead people in this mine. And there's a rock down here, and then this is either gold vein, you could say, or this is a fake out trap, or it could be treasure in there. That's entirely up to you on what you want, or it could also be illusion. In my case, it was just an illusion. Next over here is more crystals, or magic crystals, and for my setting, I use basically, this is the adamantine. But as you can see that these 2 mines, or this little 2 mine shafts, basically, they cross-connect right here. So that you can traverse it more easily. On the right side is a bigger, more elaborate area that you could use. Again, some broken stones, another dead body, and these basically lead to either iron or nothing at all, honestly. But yeah, just a cool little map that you can use for whatever. It's also quite big, just so you know. It is not massive per se, but it is still quite big and will give you a lot for your turns and playtime. It will take a long time for actors if you're using Foundry VTT to move through all this space, so you're good there. So that's map 3. On to map 4. All right, so map 4 is a massive map, okay? This is called Mage Academy, and it is per se the Mage Academy. So I'll walk you through everything. This thing comes in 2 levels, and they're basically copied, so you don't need to worry about doing a fiddly thing with it. So down here, you basically have the lions and the gold lion. Basically, think of the school colors as blue, gold, blue. Go through these set of doors. These are little tiny push-open doors because the Mage Academy doesn't need big security because they probably have sentinels outside or a magic spell that will destroy you if you do anything weird, okay? If we go to the right side immediately following, you'll see basically a kitchen with some crates of food and everything else down here. Basically, the staff will make food down here. There's some windows for ventilation and stuff, right? They'll basically be able to make the food to serve in here, which is the technically cafeteria, quote unquote. In reality, it's just a big meeting place for the mages to get food. And then this big circle down here, you can make whatever you want. You could have it be a projection, teleportation circle, many different magical things. I don't know, a game of magic that you could participate in while you're eating. And then again, the food out here. Again, it's whatever you want, but you also get with a theme of blue everywhere because blue. Next, if we go to the left, or if you go directly out these left and right doors and you go up, you will get to the classrooms, okay? Now, this arrangement might seem a little odd, but trust me, for universities, this isn't odd at all. They're basically these classrooms, okay? So you have a smaller classroom right here, okay? You could do smaller lectures here. For think more advanced upper level courses again for universities and such. This isn't a school. This is more of an advanced university of mages. So basically a mage academy more or less. Next are these bigger rooms. Okay, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you have 4 big rooms that you can teach a pretty big decent class size for. Okay. Again, they're basically just more or less copies of each other with some books, and people bring books, people do whatever. There's notice boards on each one of them for basically flyers the teacher will put out there that you can read after class or whatever. If we continue to go up, the last big room right here is basically your big lecture hall. Think absolute big classes that are going to take place, and then you need to fit the maximum amount of people in here. This is where you do it. You got boards up here, notice board. This seat right here is basically for the teacher's assistant, so a TA. If you're a university, you know what that is. But yeah, they're for there. This is basically the big ass lecture hall. Next, on the left side, are all of the teachers' offices. And yes, this is how a university is set up. This is actually how my university is set up, surprisingly enough. Anyway, the teachers' halls are all set down here. Again, they have a chair, they have a desk down here, some scrolls on a table, right? Very basic. Down right here is the headmaster's office, or whoever's going to be running your Mage Academy for whatever reason. And they have a red to make it distinct that they are the headmaster. They got massive scrolls, and they got 2 chairs here for basically 2 assistants to be working for them all the time, and themselves, okay? And they are the only ones that are actually red, which is distinctive, okay? If we come back up here, so we've talked about the rooms for the teachers, we talked about the classrooms and how they're set up, and now if we come over here, you can see that all these hallways are technically connected, so you can go to everywhere you want, basically, through these hallways and these double doors, okay? There's a little door right here so the teacher can come in from wherever they're coming here, so if this teacher goes walk in, boom. Everyone else comes through this set of doors right there. Now, right here is basically the main entrance hallway, okay, before they go upstairs, okay? This is basically where all the group activities, all mages are going to put posters down here, books, flyers, whatever, is going to be in this little area right here. It's basically the hub of where everyone has to come through, because all the students have to go. If they go up here, we'll go to the second floor in a minute, but if they go up here, it's basically just up living room, basically just their rooms, okay? So they all come down here. First thing they see is this. If they come out and they come down the stairs and then they look left for them, this is the library. Obviously, you need a library. Basically, you walk in here, and then there's two middle sections, or so, like sections you don't have to, that aren't very tall, that you can have books here and go search for. And then you have another section right here, and then you have some tables right here for basically research. And then you have a whole bunch of scrolls down here, okay? And then you have these three massive bookshelves. Basically, you put people in between, and then you go down and look. And then right here is basically a little reading area that you can have if you want to read in the library, but that's not really what it's meant for. Because they either exit down here, and then they can go to the rec room, quote unquote. It's really just a study area, more or less. They come in here, and there's couches, books, chairs. This has been honestly how my library is actually set up. So yeah, you can study down here if you need. Study in the classrooms. If there's no classes going on, you can go in there and study. You can go to the cafeteria down here, but that's basically just the first level. Also, we have a nice little statue right here for morale purposes. But yeah, that's basically the first level of this school, okay? Next, if we go up this staircase, we'll go to floor 2, and you will see that there's, again, more quest boards. So you can put stuff up here for, like, hey, we're having a party, hey, we're drinking here, hey, there's activities going on, blah, 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 or up on these little boards here, okay? And the rest of this is basically dormitories. Very nice dormitories, I will tell you for a very, very fact. This is very nice dormitories. Some of them have cats, all the beds look somewhat different, but the school setup is, pretty identical. They have a little drawer underneath their bed, or in front of their bed, they have a desk and they have a chair, and this is went for one person. That is, God, I wish I had a setup like this in my university for one person. We put 2 people in here. That's a different story. But yeah, one person per room, more or less. And you can see that there's a lot of rooms here. Okay, so your Mage Academy is pretty big. For only having 2 stories, it's pretty big. You can make this bigger if you really wanted to. All you have to do, if you want to make this even bigger academy, is you could add a 3rd floor and just copy the 2nd floor and be like, this is the 3rd floor, because these stairs, they can keep going up and they can keep going down, but that's up to you. Other than that, basically, there are baths right here. There's toilets and then baths. Yeah. And this is actually a very nice setup for hygiene purposes. My university didn't do that. We had toilets, shower. Toilets, shower. Like literally over where my neck is by that table right there. That's about where the showers were, and where I'm sitting would be the toilets. But yeah, and then in the center area, and this is how my university dorm was set up actually, is, more people next to the toilets and all this stuff, right? And they go in and out. And basically, it's just a big ass dormitory where you can put people, hang out. It's really up to you on what you want to do with this side. I just built it because I was like, I might as well finish it. So that's what the 2nd floor is, and then the 1st floor is the 1st floor. So with that, we'll go on to map 5. Okay, so map 5 is an old battlefield. So I'll put it quite simply. This is meant to be a battlefield that happened quite some time ago. And basically it's in a forest. You can go down here and explore. There's some old arrows, there's some skulls, there's a pile of bones with more blood on it. Again, a battle that recently enough took place where they could go pile the bones and there still be blood on them, basically. Or dried blood, at least. Some weapons out here and all of the such, okay? And right here we have basically a camp, or a looter camp, or a bandit camp, or whatever kind of camp you want it to be. It could be a player camp for your purposes. But basically a little camp that they're going to go explore this old battlefield for loot, or go find an ancient treasure, or something of that nature, or go fight ghosts. This map is not massive, but it is still quite big. If you use 5-foot squares, and each one of these squares is 5 feet, so you can see that it is still considerable. It's just not absolutely massive like my other maps. For what I did for this map, I had 2 cadaver collectors attack my player party, and they basically came down here and then attacked the players because they ran into the camp, and they decided to stay in it. So the cadavers went there, and we had a big fight over here, and my players used the wagons as cover, so 3/4 cover. But yeah, you can do really whatever you want with this map. The possibilities are endless. But basically, it's just an old battlefield with some trees and a dark forest. You could have ambushes in these branches down here. You could have a skeleton pop out of the bones if you want. There's many things you could do. So That is map 5, the old battlefield. Map 6, which we will now talk about, is my most ambitious map that I have done to date and will require explanation. So I'll go over to map 6 explanation. All right, so as I said, map 6 requires a little bit more explanation. So map 6, the base level right here, all you need to do is, if you don't have Foundry and you just want to use an upgraded version of Eagle View 2, all you have to do is just get this map basically, and I'll just show it to you right here. Okay, this is the base level of the map. Okay, so all it is basically just Eagle View upgraded with a stone wall. Okay, I had to move the tower around a little bit. Other than that, it has the exact same thing that I'll get into. Okay, in the actual thing, but that map is in this little zip file you can go download. Okay, however, if you want to use the very advanced version of this map, which I would recommend, and you have Foundry to do this, then you have to click this Foundry Ready Map. Okay, you're just going to click that. Okay, now this little URL is, I'm going to have to blur out, obviously. Basically, you're going to need to, I'll show you what to do with that in a second. But for this to work, you're going to need the following modules, okay? You're going to need to get those modules on your own. It's very simple to do. You basically just type it in your Foundry or your Forge area that I'll go show you right now, okay? And you're going to grab this link. You're just going to copy this link, and I'll show you where to put it right now. Okay, so as I said, if you have the required modules, okay, to get the required modules, again, you're just going to have to come back here, and again, this map requires the following modules to work, okay? So let's say you need to get these modules from scratch. This is how you do it in Foundry. Basically, if you just want better roofs, you're going to type better roofs here, and then it should be able to install. You could basically press install right there, and you're good to go. Okay, and you need all of those modules for this to work, okay? And then finally, you're going to come grab this link right here. That, again, I had to blur out. You're going to grab that link, and basically all you're going to do is paste it right here, okay? Once you paste it, you just press install, okay? And again, I had to blur out this thing. But again, you just paste it and you press install, and you're good to go. Once it is installed, basically you should see something called Eagle View Foundry V2 blah 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 blah. Okay, now all you have to do is enable it just like you would any other Foundry module. I'll go show you that right now. Okay, so in the game, basically you just enable a module like you would any other module. You just type Eagle View, you click it, you press save module, and then it'll load it again. Once it is loaded, it'll ask you to basically import it, okay? You can import it from there. If you don't want to import it from there, all you have to do is search your compendiums, okay? It's going to basically pull up Eagle View. You're going to pull up the scene, and then you're going to right-click and press import, okay? That's all you really do. And then the map will pull up the following, okay? Now, the reason we had to do all this multi-step stuff is because this map is very complex, okay? And by complex, I mean you don't have to do anything. But for me to get it to work, it had to be a lot of complexity, okay? Had to do Photoshop, hours, okay? Just hours it took, okay? But don't really need to know the purposes. Anyway, so I'm going to walk you through this. Basically, Eagle View 2 is basically upgraded Eagle View, but has a massive stone wall, okay? So the gatehouse remains basically unchanged. However, the battlements have been completely changed. This is the first level of this basically area to shoot out of. It's basically a stone wall that's 10 foot high because it's 2 stories now. But the first level, you can actually shoot arrows out of these little slots, and they have little arrow things, okay? And this goes around the entire thing. The tower had to be moved over here to have more access again, and has windows out here, okay? That you can shoot out basically in any direction. The ditch was made bigger and more deep. And there are doors so that you can access basically this little first area down here, okay? Nothing else for the barracks or anything else changed, okay? However, if you go to the second floor, you will see that this wall has a second story, okay? Basically, what you can do is go up these little stairs right here, and this is going to get to the second level down here, okay? And again, all of this stuff is done for you. And when I mean done for you in Foundry, I mean done for you in Foundry. All of these walls, you know, the everything is done for you here. For your walls, your windows, whatever you need is all done for you right here, and you're good to go. Okay, so I'll show you that at the very end right here. Okay, but this is the second level. You go up the stairs and you can access basically everything you need to down here on the second level. Okay. Third level, it basically is just roofed out here, and everything else remains the same. However, just note that the basement is technically 40 feet in the air, but that's just how you're going to have to get levels to work. That's how I got them to work, okay? So now I'm going to show you some things of how they work, right? So I'm going to take one of my players, and we're going to go exploring. So this is technically what your players will see is this little area right here, okay, with us highlighted. If you want to go up a stair, you go up a staircase. They'll go 10 feet up, and then they can access all of this stuff down here, okay? And let's say they wanted to run around here. They could open one of these windows out here and shoot out of it for whatever reason, if they're under attack or such. And they can exit any staircase. If they go down the staircase, it'll move them down 10 feet, and they'll be back to the first level, okay? Now, this works on all these staircases. If we come over here to the gatehouse, all you have to do is basically walk to the designated area. It'll prompt you with an elevator thing. You see a second level, boom. And this works for the players too. It works exactly the same way. And then the players can see and shoot out at people below them, okay? Now, technically, it should... in theory, depends on, you should be able to see people. Again, it's going to depend highly on whether the module is working it right now. Right now, there's some iffiness right there, okay? But that's basically the second level is this, okay? And you go back down to the first level, and then everything else stays the same. However, if you want to access the barracks, which got massively overhauled for the foundry thing, okay? You basically don't have to do anything. So if you want to go up the staircase, your player just go up the staircase to the second floor, okay? And then they're like, oh, bet I want to go to the third floor, okay? So then they come over here, go to the third floor, and they exit down the exact same way. They go down to the second floor, and then they can come over here and go to the first floor, okay? All of this works just like it does, okay? Now, it might be a little bit iffy for this stuff, but I try to get it to work as best as I can. And the reason I say that is because, long story short, Levels doesn't like when you have to teleport people on different sections that are not like directly down or up, okay? But basically, you just go to the basement and you click basement right here, okay? And you are teleported to the basement where there are now 2 of me, okay? And then you can explore the basement with your players or whatever you want here. And to go up, you in theory just go over here, go up to the staircase, go to the first floor, and you see that it is teleporting us midway. That's just a quirk of how Foundry has to work with levels. And yeah, so again, all of that is done for you. All of the doors, everything is done for you with all the walls and stuff, all done for you. And you just have to download the link, okay? So I hope you guys really appreciate this map, and let me know some feedback on it if you download it and like it, and if there's bugs or whatever. Okay, so that's going to conclude the map pack for August, okay? Again, all of these maps are on my Patreon. If you are a member of the Knight tier, you get access to all of these. You also get access to the Squad Combat module, Knights and Squires, anything else I'm working on. I got a survival thing in there, all of these maps, and everything else in there, okay? So, I hope you found it informative, and may your games go very well. Other than that, have a nice day.